today's edition of the Fayetteville Obsever.
Today's weather is 92 degrees, mostly sunny and hot. Tonight, 66 and clear. Saturday, 96 is the high, 68 is the low, sunny and partly cloudy. Sunday will be 95 degrees and sunny, and 68 is the low. Monday, 94 degrees, hot, and 69 is the low. Unseasonably hot with some sunshine. Tuesday, 89 degrees, 68 degrees is the low, warm with clouds and sun. Wednesday, 85 degrees, cloudy, 68 is the low, a thunderstorm possible in the afternoon. Thursday, 86 degrees, cloudy, 69 is the low, an afternoon thunderstorm possible.
Today in history, today is Friday, May 11th, the 131st day of 2018. There are 234 days left in the year. Today's highlight. On May 11th, 1943, during World War II, U.S. forces landed on the Aleutian island of Attu, which was held by the Japanese. The Americans took the island 19 days later. In 1988, master spy Harold Kim Philby, the notorious third man of the British espionage ring, died in the Soviet Union at age 76. In 1998, India set off 3 underground atomic blasts, its first nuclear tests in 24 years. A French mint produced the first coins of Europe's single currency, the euro. Yesterday was Thursday, May 10th, the 130th day of 2018. Yesterday's highlight. On May 10, 1968, preliminary peace talks between the United States and North Vietnam began in the French capital. In 1611, Sir Thomas Dale arrived in the Virginia colony, whereas deputy governor, he instituted harsh measures to restore order. In 1775, Ethan Allen and his Green Mountain Boys, along with Colonel Benedict Arnold, captured the British-held fortress at Ticonderoga, New York. In 1865, Confederate President Jefferson Davis was captured by Union forces in Irwinville, Georgia. In 1869, a golden spike was driven in Promontory, Utah, making the completion of the first transcontinental railroad in the United States. In 1933, the Nazis staged massive public book burnings in Germany. In 1994, Nelson Mandela took the oath of office in Pretoria to become South Africa's first black president. And now some celebrity birthdays. Today, Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan is 85. Actress Pam Ferris is 70. White House Chief of Staff John F. Kelly is 68. Actor Jeffrey Donovan is 50. Thursday, author Barbara Taylor Bradford is 85. Rhythm and blues singer Henry Fambro, the Spinners, is 80. Actor David Clennon is 75. Writer-producer-director Jim Abrams is 74. Singer Donovan is 72. Actress Victoria Rowell is 59. Actor-singer Todd Lowe is 46. Rock musician Jesse Vest is 41. Actor Kenan Thompson is 40. Singer Ashley Poole of Dream is 33. Actress Odette Annabelle is 33. And our listener birthdays. Oscar McDuffie, May 1st. Mabel Smith, May 2nd. Maud Elliott, May 3rd. Jackie Rayner, May 3rd. Betsy Overstreet, May 4th. Alice Oliver, May 4th. Queen Graham, May 6th. Also Ethel Bullard. Marcia Fields, May 8th. Timmy Smith, May 9th. Eula Dale, May 9th. Mabel Williams, May 9th. Archie Diarmid, May 9th. Betsy Gregson, May 9th. Leon Locklear, May 10th. Kyoko Spinks, May 11th. Loren Rebels, May 11th. Lula Hemingway, May 12th. Shirlene Mack, May 12th. Willie Blair, May 12th. Evelyn Hicks, May 13th. Lavender McCoy, May 15th. Happy birthday to our listeners.
In Daybreak News, Need to Know. Shaw University Scholarship Banquet. The 17th Annual Shaw University Scholarship Banquet is June 1st at 6:30 p.m. The banquet for the Fayetteville Cumberland County Chapter will be at the Metropolitan Room, that's at 109 Green Street in Fayetteville, North Carolina. The guest speaker is Paulette Dillard, interim president of Shaw University. Tickets are $30 each. For more information, call Wilson Lacey at 988-1707. Blood drives. The Cape Fear Valley Blood Donor Center has 2 blood drives scheduled for today and Saturday. Donors also may go to the center at 3357 Village Drive, Suite 150, weekdays from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. to make a donation. It also is open the third Saturday of the month from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. All blood types are needed. However, the center has an urgent need for the type O donors. For more information, call 615-5433. Today's blood drive is at Cape Fear Valley Health System at 1638 Owen Drive from 9 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. On Saturday, go by the Veterans Empowering Veterans Health Fair at 325 B Street from 10 a.m. to noon. Fayetteville VA 2K Walk and Roll. 2 programs that are part of the Fayetteville Veterans Affairs Medical Center will host a 2K Walk and Roll event Wednesday from 9 a.m. to noon on the walking trail at the Fayetteville VA Healthcare Center at 7300 South Rayford Road. The event will promote health and wellness and benefit veterans who are homeless. Employees, veterans, and community members are invited to attend. In conjunction with the event, the Healthcare for Homeless Veterans program will collect donated items for distribution to veterans in need. We want to hear from you. Please submit your events in writing at least 10 days in advance. Email calendar at fayobserver.com or fax details to 486-3545. For questions, call 486-3500.
And now, Live Wire by Observer staff. Hope Mills resident sounds off on unique train horn. I live near the railroad overpass in Hope Mills. There is one particular train, and I guess one particular engineer, who toots the horn like he is playing a trombone when the train comes through. It is a train that comes through between 8 and 9. No other train does this. They blow once or twice and move on. I have relatives who work for them, and they say this is not normal. It's a CSX train. What can be done about it? It's just too much. From CC in Hope Mills. We reached out to a CSX spokesperson and got this, and this is the response we got. CSX crews blow train horns for 2 reasons. It saves lives and it is required by law. Federal law mandates that freight train horns be sounded at crossings to alert motorists and pedestrians of approaching trains, which can take up to a mile or more to stop. CSX said. The Federal Railroad Administration, FRA, has other requirements directing when, where, how, how long, and at what volume a train must sound its horn at designated locations regardless of the time of day. Train engineers also use their discretion to blow the horn in operational situations when they believe public safety will be enhanced by increasing awareness of an approaching train, such as when a person or vehicle is on or near the tracks, the spokesperson said. The safety of our employees and community members is our top priority, and we thank our neighbors for understanding CSX's commitment to put safety first. Roger Mullen. Livewire seeks to answer questions of general interest in consumer topics. Initials are used to identify questioners when names are given. Contact Livewire at livewire@fayobserver.com or at 486-3516.
Public safety. Cumberland County arrests. Aaliyah Olivia Nazam, 25, of the 3600 block of Hart Pine Drive, was charged Thursday with larceny, possessing stolen property, and conspiracy. Bail was set at $10,000. Reginald Wilson, 62, of 200 block of Connor Circle in Spring Lake was charged Thursday with common law robbery. Bail was set at $5,000. Eric Jason Jones, 35, of the 600 block of Dashland Drive, was charged Thursday with 2 counts each of breaking and entering, larceny, and possessing stolen property, and 1 count of obtaining property by false pretense. Bail was set at $10,000. Michael Cameron Johnson, 25, who is homeless, was charged Thursday with larceny and receiving or transferring stolen vehicles. Bail was set at $5,000. Shootings. Kim Street. James Lee Jan reported at 8:44 p.m. Tuesday that someone fired a shot into his home on Kim Street. No injuries were reported. Break-in. Nashville Drive. Reported at 11:44 a.m. Tuesday. Washer, dryer, and air conditioner taken. Hope Mills. Pioneer Drive reported at 11:09 a.m. Tuesday. Cell phone, headphones, and computer tablet taken.
Residents invited to community meeting. Councilman replacement, other issues to be discussed, by Paul Wolverton, staff writer. Residents of Fayetteville City Council District 2 are invited to a community meeting on Tuesday to discuss the selection of a new council member to replace Tyrone Williams and any other issues that concern them. The meeting is scheduled for 7 p.m. at 2nd Missionary Baptist Church, 522 Old Wilmington Road. It's being presented by Mayor Mitch Coleman and Cumberland County Commissioner Charles Evans. The intent of this meeting is to foster and facilitate a community discussion regarding the selection process by including citizens in this open and transparent process, a news release from Coleman and Evans says. We are sitting here without a representative, and I feel that it's up to the rest of the City Council to pitch in and do what they're supposed to do as representing the entire city of Fayetteville, Evans said Thursday. Williams resigned May 3rd amid controversy. He asked the developer of the Prince Charles Hotel project in December for $15,000, saying that the previous owner of the property owed him money. That request sparked a federal investigation. The rest of the City Council asked for Williams' resignation and began a legal procedure to force him from office. Williams has denied any wrongdoing. Fayetteville residents who want to replace Williams have until 5 p.m. on May 18th to apply. The City Council plans to accept applications, get feedback from residents in the district, vet the applicants, and then appoint one. The council members have not set a date, but they have indicated they want to swear in the new member in June. The application paperwork is available from City Clerk Pamela McGill at 433-1989 or pmegi@ci.fay.nc.us. Staff writer Paul Wolverton can be reached at pwolverton@fayobserver.com or 486-3512.
Courage, sacrifice honored. A peace officers memorial service remembers those who died in the line of duty. This article is by Roger Mullen, staff writer. 35 fallen officers were honored at a peace officers memorial service held Thursday morning on the steps of the Cumberland County Courthouse. For Martha Lennon, one name stood out. Cumberland County Deputy Sheriff Alan B. Lennon, killed in the line of duty on August 11, 1992. That was our baby, Lennon said. Police officers and the public gathered at the courthouse to pay tribute to local officers who died in the line of duty. Names stretched back to 1907. Fayetteville Police Chief Gina Hawkins honored the warriors who stood in the gap. We fully understand that tomorrow is not promised to any of us, Hawkins said. We make a commitment to stand in the gap, fully aware that our names may be remembered on a day like this. Cumberland County Sheriff Ennis Wright welcomed the crowd and introduced the speakers. Keynote speaker Brian Thompson, pastor of Simon Temple AME Zion Church, talked about an incident that happened when he was in college. Thompson said a friend became suicidal after a breakup with a girlfriend. The morning after a night of drinking, he put a gun to his head. Frantic, the man's friends called an off-duty police officer they knew who got the man to put down the gun. He had the courage to act under duress, Thompson said. After seeing the responsibility you have to take, I would rather be the one responded to than the responder. Thompson said the incident and others taught him respect for what police officers do. You have to go into every situation not knowing how it's going to turn out. Thompson said, a lot of you wake up every morning, every day, not knowing the sacrifice you're going to have to make. Chaplain Arnold Coley of the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office led the group in prayer, and Cumberland County Chief Deputy Richard Jenkins read the names of the fallen officers. A gun volley sounded and taps and Amazing Grace were played before officials placed a wreath on an officer's memorial. Lennon said she has tried to go to every officer's memorial since her son died. She estimates she's been to about 20. Alan Lennon died when his pistol with her sister Rachel Ellis. She would attend memorial ceremonies with her husband Andrew until he died in 2010. It's a remembrance and a relief that they're still remembering him and not letting his memory die, Lennon said. It's comforting to be with the other family members. Roll call of the fallen. Here are the fallen officers honored in the Peace Officers Memorial Service on Thursday. Patrolman Owen Lockamy, Fayetteville Police Department, died March 2nd, 1907. Police Chief J.A. Chasen, Fayetteville Police Department, died March 3rd, 1907. Police Chief James H. Benton, Fayetteville Police Department, died February 22nd, 1908. Deputy Sheriff Frank J. Dees, Cumberland County Sheriff's Office, died November 19, 1916. Deputy Sheriff Herman Butler, Cumberland County Sheriff's Office, died May 22, 1920. Deputy Sheriff W.G. Moore, Cumberland County Sheriff's Office, died May 22, 1920. Deputy Sheriff Malcolm N. Blue, Cumberland County Sheriff's Office, died January 28, 1921. Deputy Sheriff Alfred Jackson Pate, Cumberland County Sheriff's Office, died July 21st, 1921. Special Deputy W.C. Callahan, Cumberland County Sheriff's Office, died February 24th, 1923. Sergeant Daniel C. Chasen, Fayetteville Police Department, died October 22nd, 1925. Sergeant William Andrew Smith, Atlantic Coastline Police Department, died August 22nd, 1930. Patrolman Willis Jackson Jeans, Fayetteville Police Department, died March 16th, 1939. Sergeant Elwin L. Hargrove, Fort Bragg Military Police, died August 6, 1941. Deputy Sheriff Esther Lafayette Lewis, Cumberland County Sheriff's Office, died December 9, 1950. Patrolman James W. McLaurin, Fayetteville Police Department, died March 2nd, 1951. Specialist Dexter C. Crulis, 3rd Military Police Group, died April 22nd, 1971. PFC James Presley Boyd Jr., 21st Military Police Company, died October 31st, 1973. Deputy Sheriff Joe Smith, Cumberland County Sheriff's Office, died January 5th, 1974. PFC Joel L. Dansby, 21st Military Police Company, died November 8, 1974. Patrolman Robert Dahlman, Fayetteville Police Department, died October 9, 1975. Sergeant Robert Bruce Lambert, 21st Military Police Company, died October 16, 1976. Lieutenant Ronald G. Smith, Cumberland County Sheriff's Office, died September 14, 1977. Patrolman James E. McConkey, Fayetteville Police Department, died December 3, 1977. Deputy Sheriff Alan B. Lennon, Cumberland County Sheriff's Office, died August 11, 1992. PFC Derek Quentin Anderson, 118th Military Police Company, died December 1st, 1993. L. Agent Troy Douglas, and that's abbreviated ALE, Agent Troy Douglas Carr, NC Alcohol Law Enforcement, died May 14, 1994. Sergeant Ronald Lee Yeasel, Hope Mills Police Department, died September 26, 1994. Vehicle Enforcement Officer Franklin Dale Perit, Division of Motor Vehicles Enforcement, February 14, 1995. Trooper Damian Cortez Roberts, NC Highway Patrol, died August 8, 1996. Corporal David Walter Heathcock, Cumberland County Sheriff's Office, died September 23, 1997. Line Sergeant Lloyd Ed Lowry, NC Highway Patrol, died September 23, 1997. Trooper John Duncan, NC Highway Patrol, died January 9, 2001. Patrolman Roy G. Turner, Jr., Fayetteville Police Department, died November 30th, 2001. Deputy Christopher Brian Matthews, Cumberland County Sheriff's Office, died September 30th, 2005. And Sergeant James Heath Harden, Hope Mills Police Department, died January 11th, 2007.
And from the local and state section, Fayetteville may boost trash fees by $82, by Paul Wolverton, staff writer. The Fayetteville City Council continued discussions on Thursday of a proposed $82 annual increase in residential trash and recycling collection, plus increases in stormwater fees, park and recreation service fees, and bus fares. And City Councilman Larry Wright said the city should look for a way to pay for a new public swimming pool in western Fayetteville. These and other items were presented as the City Council reviewed its proposed 2018 to 2019 city budget, which is to take effect on July 1st. Although the proposed budget includes fee increases, Fayetteville's property tax rate would not rise. The tax rate is 49.95 cents per $100 of value, or $749.25 on a house valued at $150,000 and $74.93 on a car valued at $15,000. The city tax is levied on city residents in addition to Cumberland County's property tax. Fayetteville's residential solid waste collection fee is $108 per residential unit. An $82 increase was boosted to $190 per unit. The increase would almost eliminate a $4.6 million subsidy the waste collection program gets from the city's general fund, which is largely paid for with taxes, according to budget documents. The residential solid waste collection program would then be mostly self-supporting. It would still get about $760,000 from the general fund to service some debts. Among the other fee increases, stormwater fees for residential properties would rise from $4.25 per month to $4.50 per month. This is to help pay for long-term efforts to improve the city's stormwater control infrastructure, City Manager Doug Hewitt said. Park and recreation fees would rise. Residents who take part in athletics programs would have to pay $25 versus $20 now. Non-residents would pay $50 versus $40. After-school programs would become $35 per week versus $25 per week. Summer camp would rise to $65 from $55. the city staff aims to add capacity for more children to participate in after-school and summer camp programs. Bus fares would rise to $1.50 per adult versus $1.25 now. Other fares would also increase. The new prices are expected to boost transit revenues by $134,000. Wright said he and other councilmen would like to see money set aside in the budget to build a swimming pool at Lake Rim in western Fayetteville. I've been promised a pool out west. We've been promised a pool out west. We need a pool out west. I want to make sure that money is set aside and it's not used for anything else but to put that pool in the ground, Wright said. Fayetteville has 3 swimming pools. The most recently built one opened in 2016. It cost $2.8 million, Deputy City Manager Christoph Bauer said. Costs have changed since then, he said. Fayetteville's proposed 2018 to 2019 operating budget totals $235.5 million. The City Council plans to hold 2 more budget workshops, 5 p.m. this coming Thursday and 5 p.m. on May 24th. Both are set at City Hall, 433 Hay Street. Staff writer Paul Wolverton can be reached at pwolverton at Fayetteville Observer, at fayobserver.com and 486-3512.
This is the Southeastern North Carolina Reading Radio Service, a United Way partner agency. We broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations. We request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the SENCRRS in mind. Our post office box number is 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina 28303. If you have any questions or comments, please call us at 910-672-1600 or our toll-free number 1-844-709-5656. Your radio hosts today are Cynthia Walker and
Dave Wright.
And we are proud to serve you today.
In global news, officials detail deadly Niger attack by Drew Brooks, military editor. Investigators found a series of mistakes while examining a deadly October 4th attack that claimed the lives of 4 Fort Bragg soldiers, but said none of the failures resulted in the deaths of the soldiers themselves. Staff Sergeant Brian C. Black, Staff Sergeant Jeremiah W. Johnson, Sergeant LaDavid Johnson, and Staff Sergeant Dustin M. Wright. All soldiers with the 3rd Special Forces Group were killed in Niger following an ambush while headed back to their base alongside Nigerian partners. A summary of the investigation into the attack and remarks Thursday by military leaders have provided the clearest picture yet of the soldiers' ill-fated mission and their fight to survive. But officials shied away from placing blame on any specific leader, instead citing individual, organizational, and institutional failures and deficiencies that contributed to the buildup before the attack. The investigation found that the Special Forces team did not properly train for their deployment due to personnel changes and other requirements, that pre-mission rehearsals and battle drills were not conducted, and the team's original mission on October 3rd was improperly approved at a lower level of command after the nature of the mission was inaccurately characterized in a submitted concept of operations. Marine General Thomas D. Waldhauser, commander of U.S. Africa Command, said he was ultimately accountable for ensuring American troops are better prepared for future attacks. I take ownership for all the events connected to the ambush of 4 October, he said. Following the attack, Waldhauser said he made several changes to how troops conduct daily operations on the continent. Without sharing specific details, he said changes had been made to improve force protection and to clarify guidance for the submission and approval of partnered missions. Efforts are also underway to improve coverage of surveillance aircraft and provide faster response times when troops come under attack. As a result of these changes, the pace of some missions have slowed, he said. We are far more prudent, Waldhauser said, adding that any mission must have clear strategic value to the United States. October 4, 2017 was the deadliest day for Fort Bragg soldiers since July 14, 2010, when 7 soldiers were killed in 2 incidents in Afghanistan. And it was the largest loss of military lives in Africa since the Battle of Mogadishu on October 3, 1993. The 4 American soldiers were killed near the village of Tongo Tongo in Niger after being ambushed by an enemy force that was 3 times the size of the American and Nigerian force that was attacked. Despite previous reports to the contrary, officials with U.S. Africa Command said there is no evidence that any of the soldiers were captured alive, and all 4 men appeared to have died while fighting the enemy. Waldhauser said that while the area was known to be dangerous, the attack was unlike anything American troops had seen in Niger in the past, with a well-trained enemy force outnumbering the Americans and their allies 3 to 1. They had never seen anything in this magnitude, numbers, mobility, and training, Waldhauser said. It was a total tactical surprise. The ambush, which occurred at 11:40 a.m., came as the team of soldiers from the 3rd Special Forces Group and their Nigerian partners were returning home after missions that spanned parts of 2 days. The convoy had stopped in Tongo Tongo to resupply and were ambushed immediately upon leaving the village. Faced with a numerically superior and well-trained enemy force, the American and Nigerian troops were forced to seek safety away from the ambush site. Black, Jeremiah Johnson, and Wright were the last to leave. The soldiers, outgunned and soon to be overwhelmed, fought until the very end. As Wright drove, Black and Jeremiah Johnson moved on foot next to the vehicle, using it as cover as they provided suppressive fire. During the fight, Black was shot and died instantly. Rather than leave their fallen comrade, Jeremiah Johnson and Wright stopped moving and tried to assess Black's wounds. Soon overrun by enemy fighters, Wright and Jeremiah Johnson were forced to evade on foot. They made it approximately 278 feet before Jeremiah Johnson, too, was shot and severely wounded. Rather than continue trying to escape, officials said Wright stopped and returned to his teammate. He continued to try to fight off their attackers until both were shot and killed. As the enemy force advanced through the ambush site, they fired several additional bursts of gunfire into the bodies of the 3 soldiers. Meanwhile, the larger group of American and Nigerian troops had consolidated several thousand feet away from the initial ambush location. There, realizing that soldiers were not accounted for, the troops made repeated attempts to contact them as 4 American soldiers moved on foot back to the ambush site in an attempt to find them. 4 Americans and 25 Nigerians held their ground at the second location, fighting off the continued attack as mounted and dismounted forces began to envelop them. Forced again to withdraw, the troops, including David Johnson, were ordered to get into their vehicles and move further from the encroaching enemy. David Johnson was last seen running to his vehicle as the other 3 remaining American troops sped away under heavy fire. 2 American soldiers and 3 Nigerians were wounded as the vehicle accelerated from the location, and 1 Nigerian soldier was killed. The troops were unaware that David Johnson and 2 Nigerian troops were unable to leave. The 3 soldiers were driven back by heavy enemy fire as they attempted to get into their vehicle. Unable to get inside, and with enemy fighters rapidly closing in on their position, the 3 began to evade on foot. Running to the west, the first Nigerian soldier was shot and killed immediately, 1,500 feet from their vehicle. A second Nigerian soldier was shot and killed approximately 360 feet beyond the first. David Johnson, officials said, ran more than half a mile before seeking cover under a thorny tree. There he continued to fight back against his pursuers until the enemy suppressed him with a vehicle-mounted heavy machine gun. Enemy fighters on foot then maneuvered around the tree and shot and killed David Johnson. Army Major General Roger L. Cloutier, the Africa Command Chief of Staff and lead investigating officer, said David Johnson was never bound and he was not executed. Africa Command's investigation into the deadly attack took several months and involved testimony from more than 140 eyewitnesses, including 37 American and Nigerian survivors. Investigators corroborated those accounts with hundreds of hours of video evidence and forensic evidence taken from the scene of the ambush and where the bodies of the soldiers were. The end result is an investigative report that spans more than 6,300 pages, Cloutier said. On Thursday, officials released an 8-page summary of that report and said a redacted version of the full report would be released at a later date. Cloutier said the descriptions of the attack won't do justice to the bravery of the men involved. I cannot overstate the courage with which our forces fought on the 4th of October, he said. The investigation looked into not just the ambush, but also the missions preceding it, and identified individual, organization, and institutional failures and deficiencies that contributed to the events of October 4th. But while there were compounding tactical and operational decisions, no single decision was the sole reason that American and Nigerian troops were killed. It should not be overlooked that American and Nigerian forces fought courageously on 4 October 2017 despite being significantly outnumbered by the enemy, officials said. American troops have been in Niger for the better part of 20 years, according to Robert S. Karem, Assistant Secretary of Defense for International Security Affairs. In recent years, their focus has been in building capacity for partner forces to combat Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb, Boko Haram, and Islamic State Greater Sahara terrorist groups, he said. In all, approximately 800 U.S. military personnel are in Niger, which is twice the size of Texas. Only a small fraction of those troops are Special Operations Forces, Karem said. And none of those Special Operations Forces are intended to be engaged in direct combat operations, but have the right to respond to an attack in self-defense. The Fort Bragg-based 3rd Special Forces Group, meanwhile, has been involved on the African continent over the course of repeated deployments since 2015, when 3rd Group refocused its mission following more than a decade of constant deployments to Afghanistan. The Special Forces team that included Black, Jeremiah Johnson, David Johnson, and Wright were relatively new to the region, but had previously deployed to Niger a year earlier. They were based in Oualam, Niger, with two main efforts: to train and equip a new Nigerian counterterrorism force and to conduct operations with a second Nigerian unit until the new force could be fully trained. The investigation found that the Special Forces team, stressed by personnel turnover and other requirements, were unable to conduct key pre-deployment collective training as a complete team. Once deployed, the team was focused on training the new counterterrorism force for their first 3 weeks and conducted just 2 partnered operations with other Nigerian forces before October 3rd. On that date, the team left Camp Oualam with Nigerian forces on a counterterrorism operation near Tiloa, Niger, targeting a key member of the Islamic State Greater Sahara. Before the mission, officials said the team did not conduct pre-mission rehearsals or battle drills, and the mission was improperly approved at a lower level of command after the nature of the mission was inaccurately characterized in a submitted concept of operations. Investigators found that prior to the mission, the captain was the most senior officer aware of the true nature of the mission, which would have typically required the approval of a battalion-level commander. The American and Nigerian force was unable to locate their target, Down Shifu in Tiloa, but based on new intelligence was soon directed to a second mission, a multi-team raid involving a second Special Operations team and their Nigerian partners to capture or kill Shifu at a desert camp near the Mali border. Shifu is suspected of helping to kidnap an American aid worker, Jeffrey Woodkey, in Niger in 2016. The Oualam-based team was to be a quick reaction force supporting the second team, but due to weather, the second team was unable to conduct an air assault, and instead the Oualam force was tasked with pushing further north to pursue Shifu, but found the camp deserted. Following the raid, the soldiers began to return to their home base, but the convoy stopped in Tongo so that Nigerian troops could replenish their water supply. In Tongo, the Special Forces team met with village leaders and then departed the village, when they were immediately ambushed. On Thursday, Cloutier said, the surviving American and Nigerian troops were saved by French and Nigerian forces who came to their aid. Nearly an hour after the ambush began, U.S. troops reported that they were about to be overrun. It was their first request for help since the attack began, as the soldiers had underestimated the size of their attacking force. They believed it was a small enemy force that they could handle, Cloutier said. Under heavy fire, the team provided critical medical care to their wounded and stood their ground in a wooded area west of the ambush site, where they prepared to make their last stand. Cloutier said the first American aircraft, a surveillance platform, arrived 1.5 hours after the soldiers reported the ambush. A rescue force of Nigerian troops was hampered by distance, lack of roads, and rough terrain, and could not arrive until nearly 4.5 hours after the attack. In the meantime, 2 French Mirage fighter jets held off the enemy attacks. Cloutier said the 2 jets made 4 passes at tree level and forced the enemy to retreat. The jets did not fire any weapons to ensure that friendly forces and nearby villagers were not harmed. A separate French force arrived to evacuate the surviving soldiers at approximately 5:15 p.m., more than 5 hours after the attack began. Nigerian forces later found the remains of Black, Jeremiah Johnson, and Wright, Klautcher said. The David Johnson was found the next day. All 4 soldiers had been stripped of their usable equipment. 2 were found in an enemy vehicle, and a third was beside it, suggesting that enemy fighters intended to take the bodies before they were forced to retreat. Klautcher said all of the soldiers involved in the attack fought valiantly and said none of the mistakes made early in the mission were a direct cause of the ambush. He said there were numerous acts of extraordinary bravery and said those acts would be honored at a future date. There will be awards for valor, Klautcher said, stopping short of commenting on whether any soldier would receive a Medal of Honor. Dana W. White, the chief Pentagon spokeswoman, said the investigation provides the answers the nation and families of the fallen deserve. However, no amount of investigation or corrective action will ease the agonizing grief that the families of our fallen must feel. She said the department hopes that the families will take pride and comfort in knowing, as this investigation makes clear, that their loved ones fought and died bravely in defense of our nation, its people, and the values we hold dear. Military editor Drew Brooks can be reached at dbrooks@fayobserver.com or 486-3567.
And the Gates Ford Golf and Country Club presents the 8th annual for the blind and visually impaired golf tournament fundraiser. WeReadRadio.org. We read news and info through radio receivers to the blind and visually impaired. This tournament is $250 per team or $65 per player. Lunch and dinner is provided. Free beverage carts provided. This is a $400 value for the price of $250 per team and $65 per player. This event is Saturday, May 12, 2018. It begins at 11 o'clock. Is registration, which is located in the Riddle Room. Panera Bread box lunch, eat and go. 12 o'clock is tee off, 4-man teams. 4 o'clock is dining hour, hamburger, hot dog, and pasta bar. There will be a $500 cash prize. First place team overall. Second place Gates 4 golf certificate. New Chevrolet car, first hole in one at designated hole. Special ladies division, ladies and men's closest to the pin and long drive. You can send in your information, which would be the team captain, name, address, phone number, payment method. Check can be sent to Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service, Post Office Box 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina 28303. Phone number 1-800-672-1600 or email vjwoodard, that's VJWOODARD02@AOL.com. All donations are tax deductible, no solicitation. SL002391. The local address for the event is Gates 4 Golf and Country Club, 6775 Iron Gate Drive, Fayetteville, North Carolina 28306. Phone number 910-425-6667. The local sponsors are Food Lion, Chick-fil-A, Olive Garden, Walmart, Harris Teeter, Edible Arrangements, Stone Theater, Cheddar's, Panera Bread, CSI, BW, Power Swain, Chevrolet, Healy, BMW, Eaton, and DNS Logistics, Inc. Cumberland schools to close Wednesday. This article is by Michael Futch. Cumberland County Schools announced Thursday that all 87 of its public schools will be closed for students on Wednesday. Interim Superintendent Tim Kinlaw said the need for substitutes on that school day has increased beyond the school system's capacity to ensure that the students' academic and other needs would be adequately met on the same day as the teachers' rally in Raleigh. As of late Thursday afternoon, he said roughly 500 of the system's 3,500 teachers, along with school staff members, had requested the day off. In most cases, they are taking a personal day to attend the NC Association of Educators rally on opening day of the General Assembly. The march to the legislative building, called Advocacy Day, March for Students and Rally for Respect, is over issues of teachers' pay and school funding. We were hopeful we would be able to have school because of the inconvenience of the parents and a lot of students, Kinlaw said. At the same time, we understand the teachers and staff's concerns about the funding of education. The reason we're closing school is so many staff members had notified us that they would not be able to be here Wednesday. On Tuesday, Kinlaw said the county schools would remain open. At that time, 170 teachers and staff had asked to be off. Tamika Kelly, the vice president of the Cumberland County Association of Educators, played a key role in urging teachers and other employees to request a day off and attend the teachers' rally. This is a win-win for us and for students of Cumberland County, she said. We're really excited that many teachers are excited to join us in Raleigh. We're excited that Cumberland County educators will be represented with the thousands of other educators from across the state on May 16th. About 10,000 teachers are expected to participate in the Advocacy Day activities. At least 17 school systems statewide have announced that they will be closing school on Wednesday, according to Kelly. Kinlaw said the Cumberland County school system could have replaced up to about 400 teachers with substitute teachers to provide instruction. As a result of the countywide school closing, Cumberland County schools will change Wednesday to an optional work day for teachers and staff. No makeup day for students or staff will be required. We had one more day built into the calendar for weather emergency or whatever would cause us to not have school, he said. It is an optional work day. We will have staff and teachers. High school exam schedules will be modified. Prime time will be open for full day service in all sites that currently offer afternoon prime time. Parents who will need prime time services on Wednesday should call the prime time office to register their child for the full day service. We regret this decision creates work and child care concerns for our CCS, which is Cumberland County Schools, families, the news release said. As for the interim superintendent, he said he will be at work on Wednesday.
Video appears to show officer choking man, by Greg Barnes, staff writer. A video that has been viewed on social media more than 1 million times appears to show a police officer choking a Fayetteville man at a Waffle House in the small town of Warsaw on Saturday night. Anthony Wall, 22, acknowledges that he misbehaved at the restaurant following a prom on Saturday night, but he said that should be no excuse for how the unidentified officer from the Duplin County town treated him. He shouldn't be out there in the force, Wall told the Fayetteville Obsever on Thursday. Being a cop is just not the job for him. A cell phone video appears to show the officer bounce Wall's head off a window outside the Waffle House, grab him by the throat, and then slam him to the ground. Wall, dressed in formal wear, had his arms above his head before the officer began choking him. The video shows Wall struggling on the ground as the officer tries to bend his arm back to put him in handcuffs. Wall, who sometimes uses profanity in the video, is heard demanding the officer's supervisor. A second video shows the officer and another policeman roughly lead a handcuffed Wall through the restaurant's parking lot. Wall said he weighs 150 pounds. The officer who wrestled him to the ground appears to be about twice his size. I never did anything to disrespect that officer, said Wall, a Fayetteville native who graduated from Hope County High School. The video prompted Martin Luther King Jr.'s daughter, Bernice King, to call for a boycott of the restaurant chain. Warsaw is west of Clinton near Interstate 40. Wall said he went to the Waffle House with a large group of people after escorting his 16-year-old daughter to a prom at Union High School in nearby Rose Hill, where she attends school. He said trouble began after a Waffle House employee used foul language and disparaging remarks to members of his group after they sat down at a table that had not been cleaned. Heated words were exchanged, and a waitress called police. Wall said. He acknowledged that people in his group were holding him back before a fight could break out. That whole night was just about being disrespected, he said. Wall said he hurt his head and his back in the struggle with the officer. He said he now suffers headaches. Just pain all through my body in general, pretty much, he said. Wall said the officer drove him to a magistrate's office despite his request that another officer take him. He said he felt threatened by the officer and didn't want to ride with him. The magistrate charged him with resisting arrest and disorderly conduct and let him go. Warsaw Police Chief Eric Sutherland could not be reached for comment Thursday. He told the News and Observer of Raleigh that the police department and District Attorney Ernie Lee are investigating the incident. Lee told the Sampson Independent of Clinton that he has requested a probe by the State Bureau of Investigation. Sutherland did not identify the officer involved. Sutherland told the News and Observer that the officer's behavior in the video does not reflect how Warsaw officers are trained. It's not what you're trained to do in incidents like this, but when you're dealing with someone fighting and resisting against an officer, you try to use proper tactics and go for one move, but that might not work because that person is moving or the officer is moving, Sutherland said. In real versus training situations, moves don't always work out like you want them to. Wall described himself as a hard-working young man who wasn't drinking on the night of the incident. He said he works 2 jobs, 40 hours a week, at a poultry plant in Sanford and about 20 to 25 hours on weekends at a Wendy's restaurant. He drives a 2011 Mercedes-Benz, a car he said he has paid off in full. Wall said he thinks the officer who choked him should be fired. He said he has tried to call Sutherland 4 or 5 times and has not gotten through to him. This is all stressful, he said. This is something I never imagined myself being in. This is something I didn't ask for. I don't know what his problem was that night or what he had going on. I just know that you don't need to be out there. Bernice King posted a message on Twitter asking people for a boycott of Waffle House. Family, the post reads. Let's stay out of at Waffle House until the corporate office legitimately and seriously commits to 1. Discussion on racism, 2. Employee training, and 3. Other plans to change, and until they start to implement changes. A Facebook post of the video by Black activist Sean King has been viewed 1.2 million times by Thursday night. It's the second incident involving white police and a black person at a Waffle House in about 3 weeks. The other was in Alabama where police wrestled a woman to the ground.
The fun begins after 5. The annual Fayetteville After 5 series kicks off today. A sure sign of this article is by Roger Mullen. A sure sign around here that summer is coming is the start of the Fayetteville After 5 series. This year's edition, sponsored by the Dogwood Festival and presented in partnership with Budweiser distributor R.A. Jeffries, kicks off tonight in Festival Park in downtown Fayetteville and continues the second Friday of each month through August. Gates open at 5 p.m., of course, and the first band usually hits the stage between 6 and 7. Since its beginning as an event sponsored by the now defunct Fayetteville Museum of Art, the series has grown in size and scope. Now, food trucks are almost as much a part of the fun as the music. Here are 5 things to know about the 2018 edition of Fayetteville After 5. Double music. For tonight's debut, 2 groups are on the bill. 120 minutes is billed as a 90s alternative pop rock tribute band. Band Inc. is a band company tribute band. Dogwood Festival Marketing and Events Coordinator Sarah Suggs said additional groups will probably be added to future bills, but only the headliners have been set so far. Bringing appetite. This year, Fayetteville After 5 is being double billed as Food Truck Friday. Food trucks have become an increasingly important part of the event in recent years. Tonight, Kona Ice, Jam Ice Cream, I Really Mean It, Hibachi Express, My Daddy's Barbecue, Baguette About It, A Catered Affair, and Oak City Fish and Chips are scheduled to be on site. Paying the tribute. Tribute bands have grown in popularity over the years. This year, the lineup consists entirely of bands that recreate the music and style of classic groups. In addition to tonight's lineup, the groups are Bon Jovi Tribute, Slippery When Wet on June 8th, Eagles Tribute, On the Border on June 13th, and Heart Tribute, Heartbreaker on August 10th. Flying High. One band on the Fayetteville After 5 bill always takes it to the limit. Suggs said On the Border has typically attracted the largest, most enthusiastic audiences in the lineup. Everybody loves them. They're really good, Suggs said. They're like the best tribute band out there. You always know they're going to bring a big crowd. The price is right. It's impossible to beat the cost of admission to Fayetteville After 5. As always, it's free. Also, Suggs said the city is not charging for parking in the downtown parking deck and other lots as it did for last month's Dogwood Festival. Some private lots may be charging, but there is always plenty of street side parking. Of course, if you want to partake of the food and drink, and isn't that the big part of fun, you're going to want to bring your wallet.
One more article before the top of the hour announcements. Yearbook photo stirs controversy. Changes in oversight of production will be implemented, interim superintendent says, by Nancy McCleary, staff writer. A photo in Cape Fear High School's yearbook has stirred controversy and prompted changes by Cumberland County schools. The picture shows a male student wearing a Confederate flag shirt, standing in a cotton field holding a rifle. It was submitted by the student and is included in the section for paid ads submitted by parents and businesses. Traditionally, the ads are brought to wish graduating seniors well and show support for the school. On social media, comments were mixed. People said it was offensive and insensitive, and others said they found nothing wrong with it. I'm not sure what's more tone deaf, the gun, the shirt, or the setting in the cotton field. But this is ridiculous to be allowed in a high school yearbook, one person wrote. There were comments posted that the photo was racist, while others were upset that the student was holding a gun, saying it was insensitive given the number of school shootings. Some defended the picture, saying it reflected the rural nature of North Carolina and the primarily rural school district. Interim Superintendent Tim Kinlaw told the Fayetteville Obsever he doesn't believe the photo was printed with malicious intent. He is taking steps to ensure that similar incidents won't happen in the future. I think at this time it was accidentally overlooked, but what it has caused us to do is review how it got in the yearbook, and to make sure that the school creates a new procedure for review of any material to be published in the yearbook, Kinlaw said Thursday afternoon. The yearbook staff is comprised of students who write and select photos from the school year to be included in the annual. Teachers serve as advisors. We are going to assign an administrator in addition to the advisors who will provide oversight to the yearbook staff, Kinlaw said. The administrator will oversee submissions for the publication looking for material that could threaten the safe and orderly conduct of the school. We're also implementing staff training to identify photos and materials that could be considered offensive to others, Kinlaw said. We just want to be sensitive to what's offensive. There are signs and symbols that may be offensive to Muslims, but it may not be offensive to me. Distribution of the yearbooks began about 2 weeks ago, he said, and stopped when the controversy arose. Administrators are now placing stickers over the photo in the yearbooks not picked up, Kinlaw said. The stickers will be available to students who have already gotten their yearbooks and want to cover the picture. Staff writer Nancy McCleary can be reached at nmccleary@fayobserver.com or 486-3568. This is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service, a United Way partner agency. We broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations. We request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the SENCRRS in mind. Our post office box number is 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina, 28303. If you have any questions or comments, please call us at 910-672-1600, or our toll-free number, 1-844-709-5656. Today, your radio hosts are
Cynthia Walker
and Dave Wright, and we are proud to serve you today. And another quick reminder about our Gates Ford Golf and Country Club golf tournament. It's the 8th annual for the blind and visually impaired golf tournament fundraiser. We read radio.org. We read news and info through radio receivers to the blind and visually impaired. $250 per team or $65 per player. Lunch and dinner are provided. Free beverage carts are provided. A $400 value for all of the above. There's a $500 cash prize for first place team overall. Second place Gates Ford golf certificate is also available. New Chevrolet car for the first hole-in-one at the designated hole. Special ladies division. Ladies and men's closest to the pin and long drive. Saturday, May 12, 2018, the Gates Ford Golf and Country Club. At 11 o'clock is registration. Located in the Riddle Room, and a Panera Bread box lunch for an eat and go. 12 o'clock is tee-off for 4-man teams. 4 o'clock is the dining hour for a hamburger, hot dog, and a pasta bar. There will be an award ceremony, and here are some optional packages. Mulligans, red tees, and putting is $20. Optional putting contest is $5 per. And we've got a form that reads Team Captain. There's a format, Captain's Choice, no handicaps. Name, address, phone number, payment methods are all required to fill out. Your check address should be sent to Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service, P.O. Box 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina, 28303. Phone number 1-800-672-1600, or you can email us at vjwoodard, that's VJWOODARD02 @AOL.com. All donations are tax deductible. North Carolina solicitation number SL 002391. Some folks mentioned for the event. Ralph Robertson is the chair. He can be contacted at 910-417-0042. Valerie Woodard is the co-chair. She can be reached at 910-797-2944. Alan Porter is co-chair. He can be reached at 910-551-1046. Steve Graham, 910-476-1023. George Holden at 910-977-4626. And again, the location address is Gates Ford Golf and Country Club, 6775 Iron Gate Drive, Fayetteville, North Carolina, 28306. And they can be reached at 910-425-6667. And our obituaries for today. First, our death notices. The following deaths have been reported. See upcoming editions of the Fayetteville Observer for complete obituary information. Cumberland County, Tiffany Marie Farthing, 39 of Benson, West and Dunn Funeral Home of Earl. Amos Whitted, 68 of Fayetteville, Colvin Funeral Home and Crematory. Richard Earl Floyd, 61 of Parkton, Lafayette Funeral Home. Angel Luis Perez, 51 of Spring Lake, Adcock Funeral Home, Spring Lake. David F. Folima, 61 of Fayetteville, Adcock Funeral Home, Spring Lake. Ivy Mae Batts, 79 of Fayetteville, Colvin Funeral Home and Crematory. In the Cape Fear region, Allison Martin, 65 of Lumberton, Floyd Mortuary and Crematorium in Lumberton. Terry Spivey Jr. of Fairmont, Peacock Funeral Home. Funerals today. Harris, Jenny, 90 of White Lake. At 3 p.m., Bladen Gaskins Funeral Home. Burial, Hickory Grove Baptist Church Cemetery. Bladen Gaskins Funeral Home, Elizabethtown. Douglas Eastep, 62 of Fayetteville, 2 p.m. Rogers and Breese Funeral Home Chapel. Rogers and Breese Funeral Home. Betty Wright of Southern Pines, 2 p.m. Rayford Evangelical Methodist Church. Crumpler Funeral Home, Rayford. In Cumberland County, Esther McNeil. In Fayetteville, Esther McNeil, 87 passed Sunday, May 6, 2018. Funeral will be held Saturday, May 12th at New Bethel AME Zion Church, starting at 12 noon. Public viewing Friday, May 11th from 1 to 5 p.m. at Pay Funeral Home and Cremations, 2013B, Ramsey Street. Family visitation will be Saturday, May 12th at the church, 11 to 12 noon. Interment will be the church cemetery. Retired Army Command Sergeant Major, or CSM, Marion Douglas White in Fayetteville. Retired Army CSM Marion Douglas White, 59 of Fayetteville, died Monday, May 7, 2018. Funeral will be Saturday, 4 p.m. at the New Bethel AME Zion Church. Viewing will be at Wiseman Mortuary, Friday, 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. Burial will be New Bethel AME Zion Church Cemetery. Wiseman Mortuary will be facilitated. Edward Eugene Elliott, Fayetteville. Edward Eugene Elliott, 58 of Fayetteville, died Friday, May 4th, 2018. Funeral will be Saturday, 11 a.m., Wiseman Mortuary Chapel. Viewing at the funeral home, Saturday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Burial will be Rockfish Memorial Park, Wiseman Mortuary. Dale Julius Brooks of Fayetteville. Mr. Dale Julius Brooks, 55 of Fayetteville, died Thursday, April 26, 2018. Visitation will be at Colvin Funeral Home Chapel, Saturday, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Colvin Funeral Home and Crematory. In the region and elsewhere, John Marshall Smith of Atlanta, Georgia, formerly of Fayetteville, North Carolina. John Marshall Smith, 49 of Atlanta, Georgia, formerly of Fayetteville, North Carolina, died Monday, April 30th, 2018. The funeral will be Saturday, 1 p.m. at Wiseman Mortuary Chapel. Viewing at the funeral home, Friday, 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. Burial will be Northside Cemetery, Wiseman Mortuary. Norma Elizabeth Hudson West of Clinton. Norma Elizabeth Hudson West, 92 of Clinton, died Wednesday, May 9th, 2018. Funeral will be held Saturday, 2 p.m. at Turkey Baptist Church, 144 West Faison Avenue, Turkey. Visitation 1 hour prior to the service in the church sanctuary. Burial, Grandview Memorial Park, Royal Hall Funeral Home of Clinton. James Monroe Bob Grice of Laurinburg. James Monroe Bob Grice, 65 of Laurinburg, died Wednesday, May 9th, 2018. Funeral will be Saturday, 2 p.m. Wagram Emmanuel Holiness Church. Visitation, Richard Bowles Funeral Service, Friday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Burial, Hillside Memorial Park, Richard Bowles Funeral Service. Elijah McLean of Maxton. Elijah McLean, 7 of Maxton, died Friday, May 4th, 2018. Funeral will be Saturday, 11 a.m. at Christian Plain Church in Maxton. Viewing will be Christian Plain Church, Saturday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Burial, Hillside Memorial Garden in Laurinburg. SNL Funeral Home in Maxton. Helen Moody, St. Paul's. Helen Moody, 78 of St. Paul's, died Tuesday, May 8th, 2018. Funeral will be held Saturday, 2 p.m. at the Butler Funeral Home in St. Paul's. The viewing will be Butler Funeral Home in St. Paul's, Saturday, noon to 2 p.m. The burial will be Great Marsh Cemetery and St. Paul's, SNL Funeral Home in Maxton. Finally, Virginia Evers Deans, Bladeboro. Virginia Evers Deans, 85 of Bladeboro, died Thursday, May 10th, 2018. Funeral will be Saturday, 11 a.m., Center Road Baptist Church, and visitation will be Center Road Baptist Church, Saturday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Burial will be New Pate Cemetery in Bladeboro, Bladen Gaskins Funeral Home. Please join me with
Billy Graham. God loved your prideful friend as much as he loves you. Billy Graham, from the writings of the Reverend Billy Graham. Question. My brother-in-law always dominates the conversation when he's with us, and if anyone tries to change the subject, he tries to keep talking. We all dread being around him. Should we just ignore him? Mrs. L.S. Answer. I suspect we've all known people like this, and you're right. It's difficult to be around them. That's why often our first response is to avoid them if we possibly can. But God loves them as much as he loves us, and he wants us to help love them also. After all, God doesn't just love people who are easy to love. If he did, he'd turn his back on us every time we sinned. But God doesn't do that, and neither should we. Jesus said, if you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? Luke 6:32.
Ask God to help you to be patient with your brother-in-law and to love him as you should. But love doesn't mean we ignore a person's faults or refuse to help them overcome them. Pray for him, therefore, that God will show him just how prideful and insensitive he has become and how hurtful he is to those around him. Pray especially that God will give you an opportunity to confront him about his attitude, not harshly, but in love. The Bible says it is better to heed the rebuke of a wise person than to listen to the song of fools. Ecclesiastes 7:5. Pray most of all that he will see his need for Christ and humble himself at the foot of the cross. God wants to change him, and he will, as he opens his heart and life to Christ's transforming power. The Bible says he guides the humble in what is right and teaches them his way. Psalm 25:9. Tribune Content Agency. Dear Abby, in-laws' public scorn chips away at man's confidence. Jean Phillips. Dear Abby, I have a great marriage to an amazing woman. We have beautiful kids and are really happy together. The issue, however, is my in-laws. I know everyone has different opinions, and I respect that. The problem is they belittle my opinions, job, hobbies, and habits. I have been with my wife since high school, and they have never liked me. Lately, the problems have gotten worse. I am educated, have a good job, and take care of my family. But every chance my in-laws get, they make negative comments to me and in front of others. I have stood up for myself. When I did, my father-in-law proceeded to threaten me with physical violence. It is worse when they drink, which is usually when we see them, but the insults are there regardless. I am scared my kids will see how they treat me and think it is okay to do so. I used to be a confident man who would defend myself, but because they are family, I usually take it. I am at my breaking point, and my marriage is beginning to suffer because my wife refuses to support me. Please help. Stressed in the Midwest. Dear Stressed, I fail to see how a couple can be happy under these circumstances. That a wife would tolerate her parents' abuse of her husband is shameful. Tell your wife you will no longer visit the in-laws unless you receive an apology from them and they agree to remain sober while you're there. And because you have reason to believe you'll be disrespected in front of your children, or it will happen behind your back, make other plans for them and for yourself while your wife visits her folks. Readers can write to Dear Abby at dearabby.com or Post Office Box 69440, Los Angeles, California 90069, Universal Eclic.
Horoscope, Taurus, April 20th through May 20th. You can wipe the slate clean today and start all over if you want to. Remember, however, that you can learn from a failed effort. Gemini, May 21st through June 20th. Someone may be tracking your every move at this time. You can do something to thwart those efforts and avoid any real or imagined threat. Cancer, June 21st through July 22nd. You may have to talk yourself into something that doesn't come naturally. Today, even your worst enemy can be something of a friend. Leo, July 23rd through August 22nd. A positive attitude allows you to navigate a certain situation far more effectively, and it may well open several new doors for you as well. Virgo, August 23rd through September 22nd. Take care that you don't reveal too much of what you are up to before you are ready to do so. Timing makes all the difference today. Libra, September 23rd through October 22nd. Your actions can certainly speak louder than words today, but there will be times that you must use words to impart key information. Scorpio, October 23rd through November 21st. You may enjoy a second chance today in a situation that requires you to offer only your best in both style and substance. Sagittarius, November 22nd through December 21st. You've had enough of something a good friend thinks is good for you. The truth is that he or she is right, but that won't change your mind. Capricorn, December 22nd through January 19th. Someone may be keeping you in the dark about something that actually affects you directly at this time. You need to be filled in now. Aquarius, January 20th through February 18th. Slow start mustn't be allowed to diminish your enthusiasm for what you are trying to do. This is an opportunity to get things exactly right. Pisces, February 19th through March 20th. Capricorn or Aquarius, native plays an unusual role today, and you may have to change your thinking to accommodate his or her needs. Aries, March 21st through April 19th. You're likely to hear from someone who doesn't understand the difference between wanting and needing. You can set him or her straight.
Best Bets, your guide to what's happening. Friday, Fort Bragg Fair. The annual fair wraps up this weekend at the Fort Bragg Fairgrounds at Howell Street and Bragg Boulevard. Gates open at 5 p.m. today and 1 p.m. Saturday and Sunday. General admission is $14 today, $19 Saturday and Sunday. Discounts available for the military, civilian Fort Bragg employees, children, and non-riders. Call 396-9126 or go to armymwr.com. Family Fun Campout. Jay Bayard, Clark Park, and Nature Center, 631 Sherman Drive, host a family campout starting at 6 p.m. Children under 17 must be accompanied by an adult. Cost is $5. Call 433-1579. Fayetteville After 5. The outdoor concert series in Fayetteville Festival Park kicks off today with 120 minutes, a 90s variety band, and Bad Incorporated, a Bad Company tribute band. This year will feature Food Truck Friday at each concert, which is the second Friday of the summer months. Gates open at 5 p.m. For more information, go to faydogfestival.com/p/events/211. Saturday, Impressions, More Than Skin Deep. An exhibit of tattoo art wraps up today at the Arts Center, 301 Hay Street. Hours are Friday from 9 a.m. to noon and Saturday from noon to 4 p.m. Call 323-1776 or go to theartscouncil.com. Buggy Festival. The town of Carthage hosts the annual event commemorating the old Tyson and Jones Buggy Factory starting at 9 a.m. Events include music, vendors, and a car and truck show. Go to thebuggyfestival.com. Open Road. The band performs at Patty's Irish Pub, 2606 Rayford Road, starting about 11 p.m. Call 568-5654 or go to pattysirishpub.com. Fly Time. The John E. Peckman Fishing Education Center, 7489 Rayford Road, will host an introductory fly tying course from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., suitable for ages 12 and up. Call 868-5003 or check Facebook for details. Energy Block Party. Power Up North Carolina will host a DIY block party to teach residents about energy conservation from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Smith Recreation Center, 1520 Slater Avenue. Entertainment, food, and door prizes will be offered. Call 568-5710. Youth Archery Clinic. Lake Rim Park, 2214 Tar Kiln Road, hosts an introductory archery clinic starting at 9 a.m. Cost is $5. Call 433-1018. Pottery Crawl. 9 Seagrove Potters will host a behind-the-scenes pottery crawl from 1 to 5 p.m. Individual tickets are $35 in advance, $45 the day of the event. Proceeds benefit the Northern Moore Family Resource Center. Go to moorefamilyresource.org. Bugfest South. The NC Museum of Natural Sciences, 415 South Madison Street in Whiteville, will host Bugfest South from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Guests will learn about insects through displays, presentations, and activities. Admission is free, but donations are accepted. Call 914-4185 or go to ncdcr.gov. Sunday, No Fuss and Feathers. The band performs a Mother's Day concert at the Rooster's Wife, 114 Knight Street in Aberdeen. Doors open at 6 p.m. for the 646 show. Night hike. Carvers Creek State Park, 2505 Long Valley Road in Spring Lake, hosts a night hike beginning at 8 p.m. Guests should bring a flashlight and arrive 15 minutes early. Call 436-4681 or go to ncparks.gov. Blessing a Curse. The group performs with other bands at the Drunk Horse Pub, 106 Southeastern Boulevard. Doors open at 7 p.m. Admission is $10. Check Facebook for details. Sister Trek. Weymouth Woods Sandhills Nature Preserve, 1024 Fort Bragg Road in Southern Pines, will host a Mother's Day hike for women starting at 3 p.m. Call 692-2167 or go to ncparks.gov. Rockefeller House Tour. Carvers Creek State Park hosts a tour of the historic Rockefeller property starting at 10 a.m. Tours are free, but guests must sign up 15 minutes ahead of time. Call 436-4681 or go to ncparks.gov. Bull riding. Shady Acres Radio, 2054 Kennedy Pond Road in Hope Mills host a bull riding event. Cost is $5. Times vary. Call 669-6820 for details.
Lean on Pete, a story of a teen and a horse, resonates by Colin Covert, Star Tribune, Minneapolis, Tribune News Service. Without a moment of cheap sentimentality, Lean on Pete, a story about the tragedies and resilience of youth, holds the torch for emotion pretty high. At the 400 Blows was set in the poorer sections of the rural Pacific Northwest and would run very close to this. Director Andrew Hay, having shattered hearts in a film about a one-night stand, Weekend, and another about loss of love after decades, 45 years, here examines neglectful adults and children's need to find refuges away from home and inside their heads. It's fundamentally a love story between a 15-year-old lost boy, Charlie, played by Charlie Plummer, and a chestnut-colored colt named Lean on Pete. Charlie's life hasn't offered him much of a safety net. His mother abandoned him long ago. His father disarmingly jokes with Charlie like an older brother, but his single parenting skills are almost non-existent. His income as a driver is near the poverty line, and he tends to vanish unreliably when a woman of interest crosses his view. The only item Charlie can be sure to find in their refrigerator is the light bulb. When Charlie stumbles into a part-time job as a groom for small-time racehorse owner Dell, played by Steve Buscemi, he not only gets a lick of cash to pocket, acquires a worldly wise mentor as well. In short order, Charlie's father accepts the new arrangement, and Dell takes the boy to nickel-and-dime racetracks to water, brush, and walk his horses. From his new insider's perspective, Charlie learns some unpleasant facts about the races. Dell regards his competitors like investments, doping them for the best performance they can deliver without being disqualified by veterinarians and selling them at the end of their galloping days to Mexican buyers. He's not saying whether they're sold as livestock or dog food. For the time being, Pete's rider is Bonnie, played by Chloe Savini, a friendly, skeptical jockey on the verge of giving it up after her own injuries. There are only so many times you can fall off a horse and get up, she says. For her, too, Pete is not a pet, only a horse. But as the boy and the animal bond, Pete becomes Charlie's only reliable friend. The film offers sort of a low-budget travelogue across the American West. Through their arduous journey together, Hay treats their challenges with complete understatement and objectivity that, while not unfeeling, does not parade its emotional state. There is no specifying, moralizing, or commentary of any sort, just hard difficulties observed with acute accuracy. It all looks, feels, and smells as real as the cheap diners where Dell impatiently tries to teach Charlie the proper way to eat in public. Time and again, we're gently reminded that the boy is not simple, but has a lot to learn. There's a talented ensemble at work here. Plummer has a gift for radiating naivete that fits like a jigsaw piece against Buscemi's weary, seen-it-all cynicism. Plummer, last seen as J. Paul Getty's dissolute, druggled grandson and all the money in the world, has a challenging part as Charlie, a complicated adolescent presented in spare dialogue and unsparing images. He is impeccable, even in sequences where he must handle horses, which are noble creatures but not the most reliable actors. The slow step-by-step of Charlie's awakening to life's casual cruelty is done without a hint of performing, which is the highest compliment such work can earn. As a new acquaintance who becomes Charlie's tutor in street life, Steve Zane is equally good and quite unpredictable. Everyone here supplies a human face, even to characters who are not necessarily humanizing. Lean on Pete is a film in which the acting is almost invisible, but the Dickinson message about the pain and joy of growing up can be appreciated by anyone who has felt unwanted, unloved, or uncared for. It's a film, in other words, for almost everyone.
Legislative Panel School Safety Package approved by Gary D. Robertson, the Associated Press. Raleigh. A legislative committee on Thursday recommended more funding, staffing, and training to make North Carolina schools safer, gaining bipartisan approval while ignoring or delaying action on further gun restrictions and tougher criminal penalties. The House panel, formed in the days after the Parkland, Florida school shooting in February that left 17 people dead, approved more than a dozen proposals that its leaders said are good initial steps. Some or all of the recommendations are likely to be debated during the General Assembly's annual work session beginning next week. These are not insufficient recommendations. Do we need to do more? Of course, we can't ever do enough to keep our children safe as we think they should be, said Republican Josh Dobson, a McDowell County Republican and leader of the panel subcommittee. But these are concrete recommendations to keep our schools safer than have received bipartisan support. The recommendations, approved with no opposition, don't include a lot of specific funding requests, only about $8 million. Over half of it would go toward a statewide expansion of a pilot program. Currently, in a few counties, that gives students access to a mobile phone app to anonymously report potential safety threats to authorities. Lawmakers acknowledge that it would take a large investment to meet one of its top proposals, a goal of meeting nationally recommended staff, student ratios for school counselors, psychologists, and social workers. State officials told them earlier it would cost more than $500 million annually to meet those standards. The panel's report doesn't recommend a specific funding amount for these support workers. Any changes would have to be voted on by the House and Senate before they're sent to Democratic Governor Roy Cooper. His proposed budget adjustments, officially released later Thursday, include $40 million for districts to hire at least 500 additional school nurses, psychologists, social workers, and counselors, and $10 million for more campus-based police officers. Cooper also wants funds for campus security upgrades. The committee's proposal recommended $1.8 million in grants to hire more officers in elementary and middle schools, extending a grant program started in 2013. School resource officers also would have to meet specialized training requirements. House Minority Leader Darren Jackson, a Wake County Democrat, said he was disappointed Republicans who led the committee declined to take up proposals on firearms, such as giving judges authority to temporarily remove guns from someone considered dangerous. Republicans have little interest in Democratic proposals to raise the age to purchase assault-style rifles to 21 or require background checks for those weapons.
Cooper links teacher pay plan with halting some tax cuts by Gary D. Robertson, the Associated Press. In Raleigh, Governor Roy Cooper proposed budget adjustments Thursday that would give teachers average pay raises of more than 8% to be paid for by blocking some tax breaks Republicans approved for corporations and six-figure income earners set to take effect in January. It's tax fairness for teacher pay, the Democratic governor told reporters. His $24.5 billion plan for the fiscal year starting July 1st also would expand funding for school safety improvements, job training, water quality testing, and Hurricane Matthew relief. Republican leaders of veto-proof majorities in both chambers torched Cooper's proposal before it even reached the legislative building. They're unlikely to consider derailing the latest steps in their multi-year tax overhaul, they say, helped invigorate the state's economy. The General Assembly will be making changes to the second year of the state government spending plan. That 2-year budget enacted by overriding Cooper's veto last summer already raises average teacher pay by about 6%. Cooper said he'd get the roughly $100 million for higher teacher raises by stopping an already approved corporate income tax rate drop from 3% to 2.5% in 2019. And instead of giving all individual income tax filers the full pending rate decline to 5.25% next year, he wants a new bracket at the current 5.499% rate on income above $100,000 for single filers and $200,000 for joint filers. The House and Senate budget writers have already decided to spend $23.9 billion next year, or $620 million less than Cooper's plan. Now they're working on the details. What we are hearing appears to be more of an unserious attempt to score political points in an election year than a responsible, sustainable budget for 10 million North Carolinians, House Speaker Tim Moore and Senate Leader Phil Berger said in a release. Cooper is leading Democrats trying to end or weaken the GOP's veto-proof control in the November elections. He said the wealthy and out-of-state corporations benefit disproportionately from the Republican tax plans. Speaking days before a massive rally for education funding in Raleigh, as the General Assembly opens its work session, Cooper said more money is needed to raise salaries to the national average in 4 years. He would also raise the pay of more than 12,000 teachers with at least 25 years of experience, who otherwise won't benefit under the current budget. Moore said this week that lawmakers are considering some extra pay for the most veteran teachers. Cooper said Republicans shouldn't dismiss this proposal out of hand. I urge them not to waste this opportunity to improve our state, Cooper said. We don't need another irresponsible stranglehold on our budget that will weaken our state while helping corporations and the very rich on their income taxes. The governor's budget also includes a previously announced $130 million school safety package, half of which would go to making building and security equipment upgrades to K-12 public schools and University of North Carolina and community college system campuses. Much of the rest would go to hire more public school police officers, counselors, nurses, and social workers, an idea legislators already are considering. Cooper also said Thursday he'd seek $28 million to improve prison safety and security with better cameras, technology training, and recruitment to fill vacancies following last year's deaths of 5 correctional officers and staff. The governor also wants to give correctional officers $1,000 salary increases and more generous retirement plans, on top of across-the-board pay raises for nearly all state employees of $1,250 or 2% of their salaries, whichever is greater. The $60 million Cooper wants for a workplace training fund would come from a retooled unemployment insurance tax that businesses pay. His budget office said businesses would see an overall unemployment tax cut, but the state would earmark a surcharge toward the initiative.
Facebook ads show Russian effort to stoke political division by Mary Claire Jelinek, The Associated Press. Washington. Democrats on the House Intelligence Committee have released more than 3,500 Facebook ads that were created or promoted by a Russian internet agency, providing the fullest picture yet of Russia's attempt to sow racial and political division in the United States before and after the 2016 election. Most of the ads are issue-based, pushing arguments for and against immigration, LGBT issues, and gun rights, among other issues. A large number of them attempt to stoke racial divisions by mentioning police brutality or disparaging the Black Lives Matter movement. Some promote President Donald Trump or Bernie Sanders, who ran against Hillary Clinton in the Democratic presidential primary. Few, if any, support Clinton. The Intelligence Committee Democrats released a sampling of the ads purchased by Russia's Internet Research Agency last year, but they are now releasing the full cache of ads that Facebook officials turned over to the panel after acknowledging in September they had discovered the Russian efforts. The release of ads from early 2015 through mid-2017 does not include 80,000 posts that the agency also shared. Some of the ads are partially redacted, part of an effort by Facebook and the committee to protect unsuspecting people whose names or faces were used. An Associated Press review of the thousands of ads and their data shows how precisely and sometimes randomly the agency targeted them. Some ads designed to appeal to critics of immigration were targeted to users who liked specifics. Fox News host WikiLeaks found Julian Assange, Old Glory, and the United States Constitution, among other words. Others were more narrowly targeted. Facebook users within 12 miles of Buffalo, New York, were directed to an event supporting justice for a black woman who died in a county jail. Another ad criticizing a Texas school teacher who lost her job after making racist remarks was aimed at adults living in Cleveland, Baltimore, St. Louis, and Ferguson, Missouri. One ad that targeted African Americans concerned about discrimination was only to be shown to users accessing Facebook on Wi-Fi rather than cellular. There was no explanation as to why that was.
Cancer doctors feel unprepared but still recommend marijuana, by Carla K. Johnson, the Associated Press. From Seattle. Nearly half of U.S. cancer doctors who responded to a survey say they've recently recommended medical marijuana to patients, although most say they don't know enough about medicinal use. The results reflect how marijuana policy in some states has outpaced research, the study author said. All 29 states with medical marijuana programs allow doctors to recommend it to cancer patients, but no rigorous studies in cancer patients exist. That leaves doctors to make assumptions from other research on similar prescription drugs or in other types of patients. The big takeaway is, we need more research, plain and simple, said Dr. Ilana Braun of Dana-Farber Cancer Institute in Boston, who led the study published Thursday in the Journal of Clinical Oncology. Patients want to know what their doctors think about using medical marijuana. In the new study, cancer doctors said their conversations about marijuana were almost always started by patients and their families, not by the doctors themselves. Overall, nearly 8 in 10 cancer doctors reported having discussed marijuana with patients or their families, with 46% recommending it for pain and other cancer-related problems to at least one patient in the last year. Among those who said they recommended marijuana, 56% said they did not have sufficient knowledge to do so. They're not as close-minded as you might think, and they also feel they have a lot to learn, Braun said. The survey was conducted in a random sample of cancer doctors. Researchers got completed surveys from 237 doctors, or 63%. Marijuana is considered an illegal drug by federal officials, and federal restrictions have limited research. Last year, the National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine concluded the lack of scientific information about marijuana poses a risk to public health. There's evidence marijuana can treat chronic pain in adults, and medications similar to marijuana can ease nausea from chemotherapy. In the study, 67% of cancer doctors said they view marijuana as a useful addition to standard pain therapies, with 75% saying it posed less risk of overdose than opioids. About half view marijuana as equal to or more effective than standard treatments for cancer-related nausea. Marijuana isn't harmless. The National Academy's report said pot smoking may be linked to higher chances of traffic accidents, chronic bronchitis from long-term use, and schizophrenia and other causes of psychosis, especially in the most frequent users. Dr. Stephen Pergam of Seattle Cancer Care Alliance answers questions about marijuana safety from his colleagues at the treatment center. His responses depend on the patient. A dying patient with cancer that's spread, whatever they want to do to make themselves comfortable, said Pergam, who wasn't involved in the new research. A patient with leukemia, however, should be warned of a theoretical possibility of a fungal infection tied to cannabis use. If we're not comfortable having these discussions, patients will get information from other sources, and it's not going to be as reliable, he said.
Music, Not Pottery, highlights Sanford Festival by Roger Mullen, staff writer. Sanford, a change in venue brought about a change in focus for the Sanford Arts and Vine Festival. Because of construction at the Dennis A. Wicker Civic Center, where the festival has been held in years past, a decision was made to move the event to the Mann Center on Steel Street in the downtown area. That change afforded organizers an opportunity to rethink the festival's direction. So, for the first time in its 6-year history, pottery and other art won't be the festival's focus. Instead, it will be beach music. The Embers, featuring Craig Woolard, the original Tams, and the chairman of the board, are the headliners of this year's Arts and Vine Festival, scheduled for Saturday starting at 1 p.m. This is our 6th year, and we thought this is going to be easy. Momentum is on our side, said Kevin Brown, one of the coordinators of the festival. But now we're reinventing the wheel. Arts and Vine Festival, where? Mann Center, 507 North Steel Street, Sanford. When? Saturday from 1 to 9 p.m. Tickets are $20 in advance, $25 the day of the festival. Advance VIP tickets, including drinks, heavy hors d'oeuvres, and then tent seating, are $25. Information, 919-775-5273 or sanfordartsandvine.com. The Tams had a hit with What Kind of Fool Do You Think I Am? They are one of the 3 bands that will headline this year's Arts and Vine Festival in Sanford on Saturday. Festival. The first Arts and Vine Festival was held in 2013. The event replaced Pottery Festival that had been held on Mother's Day weekend for the previous 11 years. Arts and Vine continued to emphasize pottery while also showcasing other art forms, but visual arts remained the focus. That changed this year, with the hosting Wicker Civic Center undergoing major renovations. Organizers decided to move the event outdoors at the Mann Center rather than inside the Civic Center. The outdoor setting seemed more conducive to a music festival than an arts extravaganza, Brown said. It's difficult to have an outdoor art show with the wind, the rain, the temperature, Brown said. He said the event will still have a handful of potters, but the kind of art won't be the star of the show. Instead, it will be the swaying beach sounds of the Embers, Tams, and chairman of the board. The Embers are famous for songs such as I Love Beach Music and Faraway Places. The Tams, with their trademark Tam O'Shanter hats, had hits with What Kind of Fool Do You Think I Am? And Be Young, Be Foolish, Be Happy. The chairman of the board, who were led by late General Johnson, had a top 5 hit with Give Me Just a Little More Time. Whenever you tell somebody about what we're doing, they say, you're kidding me. Those 3 bands, they're coming to Sanford, Brown said. Along with those headliners, the festival will feature local favorites Bad Moon Rising, covering the songs of Creedence Clearwater Revival, and Working on Commission, playing country and southern rock. In addition, the festival will feature wine and beer from Libations and Hugger Mugger Brewing Company, Sanford's first brewery. Food trucks including Napoli's wood-fired pizza, Sandwich Mike's, and Cousin's Maine Lobster will be on site. Games such as cornhole and darts will be offered. Brown said tours of the Mann Center will be available. Some of the proceeds from the event will go toward renovations at the center, which used to be a high school. And although pottery and the like won't be the focus, some artists will be on hand to show off and sell their creations. Brown said the reaction to the change in format for the Arts and Vine Festival has been positive. He thinks the new location will work out well. We're closer to downtown, we're closer to residential Sanford, he said. You can bring the grandparents and the kids, throw a blanket on the lawn, and listen to the music and eat, drink, and be merry all day.
Trump, Kim to meet in Singapore by Zeke Miller, Jill Poland, and Matthew Lee from the Associated Press. In Washington, envisioning a very special moment for world peace, President Donald Trump announced Thursday he will meet North Korea's Kim Jong-un for highly anticipated summit talks in Singapore on June 12th. He set the stage for his announcement by hosting a 3 a.m. made-for-TV welcome home for 3 Americans held by Kim's government. Final details in place, Trump and Kim agreed to the first face-to-face North Korea-U.S. summit since the end of the 1950-53 Korean War. It's the most consequential and perhaps riskiest foreign policy effort so far in Trump's presidency, as North Korea's nuclear program approaches a treacherous milestone, the capacity to strike the continental U.S. with a thermonuclear warhead. Trump says the U.S. is aiming for denuclearization of the entire Korean peninsula, but he has yet to fill in just what steps that might include and what the timing would be. We're starting off on a new footing, Trump said. of himself and Kim as he welcomed the detainees in a floodlit ceremony at Joint Base Andrews outside Washington. He hailed their release as a potential breakthrough in relations between the longtime adversary nations. He and Kim will both try to make it a very special moment for world peace, he said later on Twitter. Kim has suspended nuclear and missile tests and put his nuclear program up for negotiation, but questions remain about how serious his offer is and what disarmament steps would be willing to take. The White House has said withdrawal of thousands of U.S. troops from South Korea is not on the table. Long before dawn Thursday, with the former detainees by his side on the airbase tarmac, Trump said it was a great honor to welcome them back to the U.S., but the true honor is going to be if we have a victory in getting rid of nuclear weapons. The ceremony, which also featured a giant American flag suspended between the ladders of two fire trucks, emphasized Trump's penchant for the dramatic as he raised expectations for the summit. And it underscored how closely the fate of his foreign policy agenda is being tied to North Korean negotiations. He had wanted to hold the summit in the demilitarized zone between the two Koreas, but yielded to the concerns of officials who thought a DMZ meeting would focus attention on relations between the North and South rather than the nuclear question. President Mike Pence, Vice President Mike Pence, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, other top officials, and First Lady Melania joined the president for the airbase celebration. The former detainees, Kim Dong-chul, Kim Hak-song, and Tony Kim, had been released Wednesday at the end of Pompeo's visit to North Korea. They appeared tired but in excellent spirits, flashing peace signs and waving their arms as they emerged from the aircraft. One said through a translator, "It's like a dream. We are very happy." The latter gave the president a round of applause.
Friday evening, WTVD, 6 p.m. ABC 11 Eyewitness News, 6:30 ABC World News Tonight with David Muir, 7 p.m. Jeopardy! Teachers Tournament Quarterfinals, 7:30 Wheel of Fortune Spa Getaway, 8 p.m. Once Upon a Time, 9 p.m. Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The Force of Gravity, Daisy's Future Could Mean the End, 10 p.m. 2020, 11 p.m. ABC 11 Eyewitness News, 11:30 Jimmy Kimmel Live. WNCN, 6 p.m. CBS 17 News, 6:30 CBS Evening News with Jeff Glor, 7 p.m. Judge Judy, 7:30 p.m. Judge Judy, 8 p.m. Undercover Boss Celebrity Edition, Gabby Douglas, gymnast Gabby Douglas goes undercover, 9 p.m. Hawaii 5-0, 10 p.m. Blue Bloods, My Aim is True season finale, Frank combats feelings of guilt, 11 p.m. CBS 17 News, 11:30 The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. WRAL, 6 p.m. WRAL News at 6 p.m., 6:30 NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt, 7 p.m. Inside Edition, 7:30 Entertainment Tonight, 8 p.m. Blind Spot, Defection, Jane recruits someone from her past, 9 p.m. Dateline NBC, 11 p.m. WRAL News, 11:30 The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon. A&E, 6 p.m. Live PD, Riding Along with Law Enforcement, 8 p.m. Live PD Rewind, 9 p.m. Live PD Riding Along with Law Enforcement. AMC, Titanic at 6 p.m., 9 p.m. Twister, 11:30 Fear of the Walking Dead. Disney, 6 p.m. Jessie, 6:30 p.m. Inside Out, 8 p.m. DuckTales, 8:30 Inside Out, 10 p.m. DuckTales, 10:30 Stuck in the Middle, 11 Raven's Home, and 11:30 Bunked. TBN, 6 p.m. John Gray World, 6:30 Live the Let Go Life, 7 p.m. Sid Ross, It's Supernatural, 7:30, The Potter's Torch. 8 p.m., Praise. 9 p.m., Hal Lindsey. 9:30, End of the Age. 10 p.m., Manifest with Perry Stone. 10:30, The Watchmen. 11 p.m., Praise. TBS, 6 p.m., Family Guy. 7 p.m., Bob's Burgers. 7:30, Bob's Burgers. 8 p.m., Transformers. 11 p.m., A League. TCM, 5 p.m. or 6 p.m., The Devil Doll. 6:30, Miracles for Sale. A magician exposes a fake medium and helps catch a murderer. 8 p.m., The Great Train Robbery. Dapper thieves rob gold bars from a moving train in England. 10 p.m., Hanover Street. An American pilot and an English nurse are drawn together. TLC, 6 p.m., Say Yes to the Dress. 6:30, Say Yes to the Dress. 7 p.m., Say Yes to the Dress. Omarosa Wants a Colorful Gown. 8 p.m., 90 Day Fiancé. And 11 p.m., 90 Day Fiancé.
People. Sony to release Gary Hart drama. Los Angeles. Sony Pictures has acquired the worldwide distribution rights for a film about Gary Hart's 1988 presidential bid. The studio said Thursday that it will release The Frontrunner in the fall to coincide with both awards season and the election. Hugh Jackman is starring as Hart in the film from director Jason Reitman. The film will chronicle the politician's rise and fall as an extramarital affair with a woman named Donna Rice became tabloid fodder and a national scandal. The screenplay is based on journalist Matt Bai's 2014 book, All the Truth Is Out. It was co-written by Reitman, Bai, and former Hillary Clinton press secretary Jay Carson. Also, Mexican comic offends leftists and youths. Mexico City. It wasn't a particularly good way to prepare for a movie premiere. Comic actor Eugenio Derbez alienated young people and supporters of leftist presidential candidate Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador with comments before the Mexico premiere of his movie Overboard. Twitter users launched a campaign to boycott the movie Thursday after Derbez told a local radio station, "I'm not sure Lopez Obrador is the best choice. Derbez is probably Mexico's best-known movie comic, but Lopez Obrador is popular too, running far ahead in polls for the July 1st election." Then, in another interview, Derbez said he was shocked when a young person asked to be paid for handling the actor's social media accounts. Many took that to mean Derbez thinks young people should be happy to work for him for free. Also, Pulitzer Board to review Diaz accusations in New York. The Pulitzer Prize Board said Thursday it will launch an independent review of the misconduct allegations against Junot Diaz, and that the author will relinquish the role of chairman of the board. In a statement, the board said that Diaz, a Pulitzer Prize-winning author and creative writing professor, had asked to relinquish the chairman role, to which he was elected in April on the basis of seniority. Diaz remains on the board, the statement said, adding that he welcomes the review and will cooperate fully with it.
Spotify cuts R. Kelly music from playlist. By Nikessa Mumby Moody, The Associated Press. New York. Spotify has removed R. Kelly's music from its playlist, citing its new policy on hate content and hateful conduct. A spokesperson said Thursday that Kelly's music is no longer available on the streaming service's owned and operated playlist and algorithmic recommendations. His music will be available, but Spotify will not promote it. R. Kelly's management decried the move in a statement to the Associated Press. R. Kelly has been accused of hate, and the lyrics he writes express love and desire. The statement read, "Mr. Kelly for 30 years has sung songs about his love and passion for women. He is innocent of the false and hurtful accusations and the ongoing smear campaign against him, waged by enemies seeking a payoff. He never has been convicted of a crime, nor does he have any pending criminal charges against him. The new policy defines hateful conduct as something that is especially harmful or hateful, such as violence against children and sexual violence. It's another blow for the R&B superstar who has been battling allegations that he sexually abused women for decades. While Kelly has denied the allegations and was acquitted in 2008 of child pornography charges, recent attention and a #MuteRKelly campaign has put the singer, songwriter, and producer under more scrutiny. He was recently dropped from a concert in his hometown of Chicago, and there is pressure to cancel a concert tonight in Greensboro. In a statement, the founders of the #MuteRKelly movement applauded Spotify's move. It is important that those who market the work of problematic entertainers stand, in the end, with their company's collective values. It read in part, "We find this decision by Spotify a victory and is another step in our mission to mute R. Kelly." In its policy, Spotify made it clear that it doesn't tolerate content that expressly and principally promotes, advocates, or incites hatred or violence against a group or individual based on characteristics including race, religion, gender identity, sex, ethnicity, nationality, sexual orientation, veteran status, or disability. Kelly's music doesn't apply. It's been defined by its explicit sexual nature, but he's also written love ballads, pop songs, and even gospel music. However, the new policy also delves into an artist's behavior.
Also in brief, in London, a UK teen accused of plotting attack on a British museum. A London teenager went on trial Thursday for allegedly plotting a grenade attack on the British Museum after failing in her ambition of becoming a jihadi bride in Syria. Prosecutors say Safa Bular plotted the attack in messages exchanged with an older Islamic State group fighter in Syria. She hoped to marry him, but he was killed in 2017. Prosecutor Duncan Atkinson told jurors that at London's Central Criminal Court that Bular planned to unleash violence and terror in the heart of London by attacking the world-famous museum. The 18-year-old denies planning acts of terrorism. Moving to Johannesburg, 1 killed, 2 badly wounded in South Africa mosque attack. Attackers entered a South African mosque after midday prayers, stabbed 3 people, and set the place on fire before fleeing, police said Thursday. As people expressed shock at the kind of attack rarely seen in this country. 1 victim later died, police said. The motive of the attack on the 3 men is unknown at this stage, Captain Nubil Gwala with police in KwaZulu-Natal province told the Associated Press in an email. The 3 attackers slit people's throats, said an emergency responder, reaction unit South Africa. Police said they found a knife at the scene. Images from outside the mosque showed bloodied men on the ground receiving medical care. Moving to Detroit, the convicted killer told police of penchant for teen girls. A suspected serial killer named in connection with at least 7 cold case slayings in Detroit area told police a decade ago about his penchant for teenage girls. In a 2008 videotaped interrogation, Arthur Ream said, "I'm was into teenage girls, okay?" Ream, who was also served time for child molestation, was convicted in the 1986 disappearance and slaying of 13-year-old Cindy Zarzicki. He eventually led police to her remains in a forest part of Macomb Township, about 30 miles northeast of downtown Detroit. Police and the FBI are digging this week in the same area for the remains of 12-year-old Kimberly King, who was last seen in 1979, and as many as 6 other missing girls. Moving to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Oklahoma agency investigates apparent parole violation. A white ex-volunteer deputy who served time in prison for shooting an unarmed black man was recently seen drinking at an Oklahoma bar in apparent violation of the conditions of his probation, which prohibit him from consuming alcohol or being in places that serve him. Robert Bates, the 76-year-old millionaire insurance executive who moonlighted as a reserve Tulsa County Sheriff's deputy, was convicted of second-degree manslaughter in the death of Eric Harris in 2015. Harris was fleeing a botched illegal gun sales sting and was being restrained, face down on the pavement by deputies, with Bates caught up to him and fired. Bates has said he confused his handgun for a stun gun. And at the top of our hour, we're going to follow up with our announcements. This is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service, a United Way partner agency. We broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a non-profit agency, we rely on public donations. We request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the SENCRRS in mind. Our post office box number is 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina 28303. If you have any questions or comments, please call us at 910-672-1600 or our toll-free number 1-844-709-5656. Today, your radio hosts are Dave Wright and
Terry Malcolm.
And we are proud to serve you today. And in closing, this concludes our reading of the Fayetteville Observer. Your radio hosts have been, again, Dave Wright and
Terry Malcolm.
At 4 p.m. you can hear Off the Bookshelf. Additionally, you will hear a rebroadcast of today's Fayetteville Observer tonight at 9 p.m. We will now join the Raleigh Network for additional news of interest. Thank you for tuning us in. We've enjoyed being with